So today's webinar, Order, Argument, and Elegance, is a workshop on how to revise a paper. You'll receive a process today for approaching paper revision that's designed not only to improve the experience of your reader, but also to support you in getting the most out of your written assignments. So I am Katie Kinney. I'm the coordinator of the Scribe Writing Center. I've got consultants here at the Scribe that are ready to support you through both in-person and online consultations. And you can make an appointment through our library website. So today we'll look at revision using a two-stage process. The first is more global, about building strong paragraphs and arguments, while the second will be at the sentence level, clarifying structure and selecting verbs that work harder for your argument. Before we start though, tip number 1 is let your paper sit. A day is good, more is better. If you begin revising as soon as you finish a draft, you're in the same mental space as when you were writing. Your ability to see grammatical unwieldiness or logical gaps is quite low from that close range. If at all possible, step away, work on something unrelated, and get a good night's sleep before revising. Tip 2 is revise with a printed copy. We read things differently when they are on a screen, as in our eyes track words on a screen using a different pattern than they track printed words. So working from a printed copy gives you a fresh look at your words, compounding the benefit of tip 1, let the paper sit. Now one more preliminary step. Let's reread your assignment. What does the prompt ask of your writing, and what tasks should your writing accomplish? As you revise, you may want to color code or otherwise mark for yourself where your writing covers various aspects of your prompt. And now onto your paper with step 1, paragraph level revising. This step is primarily concerned with order in your writing. If you understand how the order or structure of your writing works, you'll be able to define and defend your argument with more clarity. There are 2, maybe 3 basic structures into which most paragraphs fall. These are the opening or introductory paragraph, the body paragraphs, and the concluding paragraph, which shares a lot of its structure with the body paragraphs. We will be identifying the essential parts of each of these structures and marking them in our papers. I suggest taking a pencil and marking where in your paper essential elements occur. We'll actually begin by looking not at the introduction, but at the body paragraphs. Remember that revision is part of the thinking and learning process. I wouldn't be surprised if you find yourself altering or clarifying your original thesis as you progress through revisions. A body paragraph has 2 essential parts, the topic sentence and the supporting sentences. The first sentence or 2 sentences of every paragraph in a final paper should prepare the reader for what they will find in the paragraph to follow. This is called the topic sentence. With the topic in hand, the reader has a context for the information that follows. If the topic isn't given until the end of the paragraph, the reader is less likely to gather the information the author intends. The reader requires the context of the topic sentence. Here's an example. Lions have sharp claws and powerful jaws. They travel in packs. Their senses of sight and smell are keen. They can move quickly over terrain. Lions are effective predators. In this example, the topic of the paragraph is the last bit of information given. The reader encounters the paragraph as a list of facts, but has no context for how the author intends these statements to be connected. If, on the other hand, the topic came first, the reader would receive those same statements as supports for the topic. Lions are formidable predators. Lions have sharp claws and powerful jaws. They travel in packs. Their senses of sight and smell are keen, etc., etc. All of these are facts supporting the claim that a lion is a formidable and effective predator. All material in a paragraph, every sentence, should be directly related to the topic sentence, and the topic sentence should be the first thing in a paragraph. Remember this, put your claim before your evidence. I have personally seen as I write that there's a strong tendency for me to finish my paragraphs with the statement that most clearly states my topic or argument. This is the writing process at work. Writing helps us think, so it's only natural that our best articulation of our thought happens at the end. When I start a revision, I frequently find myself copy-pasting paragraph ending sentences to the top of the paragraph. So just to go over some methods for evaluating the structure of your body paragraphs. Mark all of your topic sentences in bold or somehow highlight them and ask, does everything in the paragraph serve the idea or claim of the topic sentence? If you have sentences in your paragraph that are not connected to your topic sentence, do they need a new separate paragraph? Should they be in a footnote? Are they necessary for your argument? Should they be removed? Or does your topic sentence need to be revised? Another method you can use is to reverse outline your writing. That means lay aside any outline you created before writing a first draft and make a new one based only on what you see in your paper. In the lion example from before, the original version would have been difficult to outline, but the revised version would have been simple. A final method would be to make a document that contains only your thesis and topic sentences. This will really clarify for you what the logical flow or the argument of your paper looks like. How does it read to you? Here you can see how or if your order is serving your argument. Note that it will not necessarily sound compelling. You're missing all your evidence after all. But you will be able to see how your paragraphs engage each other and transition from one to the next. If you have a strong order or structure for each of your paragraphs, you probably have a paper that the reader can follow with ease. The process of achieving paragraph organization can also show you where you have an assumption or claim that needs more support, or where you are providing information that does not add to the purpose of your paper. After you have revised the order and argument of your body paragraphs, I recommend revising them at the sentence level before addressing the structures of your introduction and conclusion. Since the revision process is a thinking process, your ideas about your thesis may be developing and changing. Revising your intro and conclusion last allows you to have the clearest possible perspective on your argument before encapsulating it in a revised thesis statement. So we'll move on to stage 2 then, sentence level revising. This stage is about elegance, or you may prefer the term utility. Elegant writing does its job well. It is not superfluous, fluffy, or unnecessarily convoluted. Sentence level revising polishes your work, leaving it visibly cleaner and more effective. Making the best choices for word order and word choice can be much more subjective than building effective paragraph structure. This stage can look very different for different writers. There are still some basic principles that nearly always apply. We're going to interrupt our program now for tip 3. Read your work aloud. When you sit down to revise at the sentence level, the first thing you should do is read it out loud and mark or underline anything that does not read aloud smoothly or that you think you want to come back to. If it's awkward for you to read, it's going to be awkward for your reader. Reading it aloud is the fastest way to find like 90% of your grammatical problems. Your ear will catch them better than the eye. If you want to be efficient while revising sentences, simply read it out loud. Now for a few common sentence level problems that bog down strong arguments. These might be things you need to look for specifically. They may not jump out at you when you read your paper aloud. The first is passive voice. You probably remember hearing about it in your high school English along with active voice. Basically, a passive voice construction obscures or de-emphasizes the actor or agent of a sentence. A passive voice sentence would be, the gazelle was stalked by the lion. Active voice is, the lion stalked the gazelle. Why is active voice better? They both, as here, essentially communicated the same information. But the passive voice de-emphasized the active agency of the lion by placing it in a clause at the end of the sentence. A sentence in passive voice can even omit the actor or agent of the sentence altogether. We might have said, the gazelle was stalked, period. In the active version, the agent and its action dominates the sentence. The lion stalked the gazelle. Generally, paying attention to who or what is doing the action in your sentences can help you clarify what you are trying to say. You may find that through passive voice, you avoid assigning responsibility or recognizing agency. Replacing passive voice with active voice can help you see where you may be pulling your punches. You may find you have to confront the implications of your thinking when you commit yourself to using passive voice constructions. Do not make the mistake of thinking that sentence level revision or revising for sentence elegance is something adjacent to your argument because it is about writing style. Active voice is good style because it is the basis of strong argument. A second aspect to look for at the sentence level are weak verbs. This is another problem that's actually fairly easy to spot, and fixing it reaps large dividends for communicating clearly to your reader and for developing your thinking about your topic. Find and eliminate to the greatest extent possible all to be verbs. Those are am, be, is, are, was, were, been, and being. If you meet me in person, I have a song for remembering them that I will sing for you. We use to be verbs all the time in our writing and speech, but frankly, they do not work very hard. All they communicate or argue is equivalence or being. Your verb, the engine of your sentence, puts in motion everything else in it. Subjects, objects, adjectives can only be put in motion by the verb. Use strong verbs to make strong points, not strong adjectives. For an example, the lion is alert in the presence of its prey. If I replace that weak verb with a stronger verb, if I show, not tell, and write, the lion tenses in a crouch, ready to pounce on its prey, the impact of my sentence is far greater. I'm also giving a greater amount of information to my reader. Strong verbs show, they don't tell. They may also cause you to add clarifying detail and precision in your writing. Finally, keep it snappy. Never use two words where one will do. Look at the little words that link together the key components of a sentence. Can you remove or rephrase them to emphasize the main part more? The main parts are typically the subject and verb and possibly a direct object. Also, don't underestimate the effectiveness of sprinkling in a few choice, punchy sentences. Short, memorable declarations aid your reader's memory by first being short and also by punctuating the cadence of your writing. You may take on as a personal writing training activity to attempt to write an assignment without any sentences that exceed 20 to 25 words. If you highlight a sentence in Microsoft Word, it will display the word count of the highlighted selection in the bottom left-hand corner. Go ahead and check. What's your word count average for your sentences? Try to keep it snappy. Now we have the end in sight as we turn to the bookends, or the appetizer and dessert of our paper, the introduction and conclusion. Like we did for the body paragraphs, identify the function of each sentence in your conclusion and introduction. As I alluded earlier, the conclusion has essential elements that somewhat parallel the elements of the body paragraph. Your restated thesis, which will also appear in your introduction, serves like a topic sentence. You may use your conclusion to give a brief restatement of your argument. This element may be less appropriate in brief writing assignments. The conclusion ends with what some call the so what of the paper. What are the most important implications of your thesis for your reader? What do you want them to remember? I recommend not getting too broad or too vague as you complete your paper. You can keep it on topic. Finally, we'll look at the introductory paragraph, which has 2 or maybe up to 4 jobs. First, it absolutely should open the paper with what is sometimes called a hook, and second, it absolutely should present your thesis or claim that you are making. It may also lay out how you will develop or provide evidence for your thesis, in essence, a roadmap to the paper, and it may give background information on your topic. These 2 components can also be placed in introductory paragraphs following the opening paragraph. After examining and clarifying the structure of your introduction and conclusion, go ahead and have a go at revising them at the sentence level. And now we take a step back. If you can, get a good night's sleep between you and a final read-through. First, read only your thesis and topic sentences. These compose the backbone of your argument. Then give the whole thing one last reading aloud. You've probably realized by now that if you begin revising an hour before paper is due, you will not be able to fully benefit from the learning and development that revision can facilitate. I'd encourage you to protect your revision time. It will result in a better paper, but more importantly, it's an opportunity for you to grow in your ability to think and communicate clearly. Being equipped for and expecting a robust revision process can also remove a lot of the pressure that inhibits our initial writing efforts. Writing does not end when words land on the page in the first draft. Writing is the craft of shaping those words toward clarity and purpose. The Scribe Writing Center is available to support you through all stages of your writing process. We have consultants trained to serve writers working at all levels. Please come see us and learn how we can come alongside you. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope to see you at the Scribe soon.